From Milky marketing to spot the BIPOC. The Earth began spinning on its axis over 4 billion years ago, and less than 1 billion years later, life followed. Competition was fierce, and someone later the art of spinning emerged. Advertising, that is. What do you think I meant? Weaving? Advertising function is to persuade us to purchase. And even though advertising has only been around a minute amount of the 3.7 billion years since life infested the earth, it has evolved at a far faster pace. 50 years ago, Golden Fields Parker stood before a 6th grade class at Stonegate Elementary and informed his tween-age pupils how advertising entices, beguiles, plays on our weaknesses, and plants ideas in our heads, ideas that shape our reality. Even though 12-year-old me was more likely to be daydreaming than listening, I absorbed the advertising unit's content, and it stuck. Chalk one up for Golden Fields. Fast forward a quarter century, and my fascination with advertising led me to an informal study of a phenomenon I dubbed Milky marketing. Milky marketing refers to television commercials that feature exclusively white people. And while Milky marketing is not strictly limited to low-budget advertisements by smaller local businesses, it is there where Milky marketing is most prevalent. One reason Milky marketing was so widespread back in my turn-of-the-century old-school rabbit ears TV airwaves days is that in 1999 I was living in Iowa. Iowa is situated in the middle of the USA and has a very milky white population. How milky white? Over 90% milky white. And Iowa also has a large number of smaller family-owned and operated businesses. If we combine these two factors, the prevalence of Milky marketing becomes a bit less blatantly racist and more of a snapshot of what the businesses hawking their goods and services via terrible low-budget commercials actually consist. If 25 years ago the Denison, Iowa-based A+ Briggs HVAC company were to run a grainy, choppy, poorly delivered commercial advertising their family-owned and operated heating and air conditioning business, and that ad began with a shot of a milky white greatest generation patriarchal papa at the helm, went to 3 milky white boomer bros wearing Carhartt coveralls out in the field, and then to a spunky milky white Gen Y sister sitting at a desk in a tiny messy office smiling up at the camera, the complete lack of BIPOC represents, well, a complete lack of BIPOC in the upper ranks of a literal mom and pop business. Mom's not officially on the books, but she does payroll and such. It's not that A+ Briggs isn't racist. It's just that they don't know that Milky White might seem unwelcoming to the 3% B and BIPOC of Stephen King country residents, and they do know who their target audience is and who they want their customers to be. By the way, just like Tom Petty says, Milky White Midwesterners love horses, Jesus, and America too, and cantaloupe. Boy, do those Iowa 4th and 5th District denizens love cantaloupe. To quote S.E. Hinton, that was then, this is now. And I've moved on. I live in an East Coast big city. I have cable TV, and my game has gone from Milky White marketing to spot the BIPOC, a completely different take on literally the same subject, that of marketing to one's target audience. Spot the BIPOC is actually far broader in scope than the Milky White game, and Spot the BIPOC has a much bigger budget. If we compare and contrast older local advertisements to national ads, we will immediately see a huge uptick concerning representation of the U.S. population as a whole. Milky White ads are by definition racially homogeneous and imply that the advertising business is also gender binary, heterosexual, and religiously monochromatic. No matter where Milky White ads are found, Milky White represents Middle America, while Spot the BIPOC representations want you to know being inclusive is on their list of mission statements. By the way, Milky White ads frequently have a little fishy in the corner. That fish is there to let you know that you're dealing with Christians. One can only surmise that the business practices of fishy companies are so heinous that customers might question their Christianity, which makes them obligated to fly their fishy flag in order to reassure their Milky White customers. Whether an ad is Milky White or Spot the BIPOC, the goal of advertisements is to sell us something, and that something is both the tangible product or service and a worldview. Selling has cardinal rules, and many of the cardinal rules are blatantly racist and amazingly sexist. Surprise! Though there are many rules governing larger, high-budget national and international advertisements, I will limit myself to listing 3 observations from ads that feature casts of at least half a dozen diverse actors. Rule number 1. There must be a male-female couple where the male is white and the female is BIPOC, not the reverse. Though we're 1/4 into the 21st century, it is still a red flag to create advertisements where the opposite race couple is an African American man and a white woman. When casting the BIPOC black female, she must be light-skinned and have finer facial features. While it must be perfectly clear that she is African American, she must look more like Meghan Markle than a young Whoopi Goldberg. Always young and European attractive. Her skin must not be darker than Michelle Obama's. If the advertisement has multiple couples that represent the spectrum of human races and includes children, then at least one of the children must be the obvious progeny of the mixed race couple. Rule number 2, there must be a same-sex couple either implied or overtly stated. If the same-sex couple is implied, it is more likely the couple will be 2 females rather than 2 males. The overtness of the relationship will influence whether the couple depicted is 2 men or 2 women. If the same-sex couple will be engaging in affectionate touching, including, but not limited to, chase kissing, hand-holding, or dancing together, the likelihood of casting 2 men is reduced even further. Casting 2 women allows the advertisement to both represent LGBTQ awareness while keeping said representation more subtle than would be achieved by casting 2 men. Heterosexual women hugging, busting one another, and dancing together is very common, while 2 men engaging in the same actions is a more radical same-sex representation, as society at large views women being affectionate with one another as sexually desire neutral, while 2 men being openly affectionate is a much stronger declaration of LGBTQ inclusion. By the way, if 2 men are cast as both a same-sex and mixed-race couple and the BIPOC man is black, he may appear less European than the previously mentioned black woman in the mixed-race couple presentation. Rules differ if BIPOC men are used in hawking HIV-fighting drugs. This is a niche market and to a lesser extent mirrors Milky Way advertisements where sponsors blow dog whistles for their intended audiences. Rule number 3. The goal in advertising is capital, not enlightenment, and the tools are balkanization, choosing a target audience, and taking whatever stand makes money for the advertiser. Just as Milky marketing loves utilizing themes like Fortress USA, isolationism, and a reliance on a myopic view of self and country, the goal of both Milky and BIPOC advertisement is the same: making money. It is fascinating how easily we accept the obscenely oversimplified Western view that the world is binary, that something is either A or B, black or white. Advertisements touch on our greatest fears and offer us a better world while utilizing the thumbs up, thumbs down judgment of a Roman emperor in a Colosseum. Our evolving cultures all tout theirs as the way, the truth, and the light, whether these ways, means, and truths are traditional or transforming. We live in a world that will quickly dispatch to hell any that run counter to their narratives, and considering how ubiquitous the yay or nay clashes of culture wars are fomented, how gleefully the labeling of righteous or intolerable groups are presented, the thumbs up, thumbs down messages of conform or be cast out, it can be concluded that fear and intolerance must be huge moneymakers for those wishing to influence our purchases. It would behoove us to remember that it is those with the greatest means who are at work reshaping our world from its ancient evolved imperfection to one being intentionally shaped for whatever capitalistic purposes they strive to achieve. Advertisements both reflect and alter our reality, and I am pleased beyond my ability to express myself that many people in the USA are growing from hatred of other to tolerance, from tolerance to acceptance, and from acceptance to embrace, that we are actually moving towards living the words that T. Jefferson penned about all men being created equal. I am ecstatic that this is so, while being fully aware that many just can't get on board the evolution train, that many desire a static world with known rules, established mores, and hierarchy. Barring extinction, evolution is inevitable, and at some point we're either going to bring the milky white world into the fold of greater inclusiveness, or we're going to go from evolution to revolution. And that choice is largely up to us.